These weird tracks, look. They're going up what's virtually a cliff face. They go up there and then they come down the other side, down there. What's doing that? That must be suicide bunnies. More of them here, look. Up and round and back down on that side. If that is rabbits, I can't imagine what they'd be doing there. There's nothing for them to eat. It's just chalk. Don't you stamp your feet at me, mister. Is it 'cause I is with dog? Afternoon. I'm back at Totternhoe again. I can't keep away from the place. It's definitely my favourite place to walk Twinkle and have a wander. Part of the reason that I like this place so much is there are a few mysterious things attached to it. And by walking here, I'm kind of hoping that one day I might stumble across something really, really interesting, you know. I'm down quite low altitude-wise. I'm down in the quarry. Just up to that side of me is Totternhoe Castle, sitting on top of its little promontory. Down there behind me is the modern quarry, which is still pulling out Totternhoe stone for repairing places like St Paul's Cathedral, Woburn Abbey, Westminster. They've all got Totternhoe stone in them. And over there is what used to be Hunger Hill, which is the most recent of the quarrying. That was all dug away in the 80s and it's now farmland. The hill's gone. But one of the mysteries around this place is where the old mine tunnels actually are. It wasn't just open cast quarrying like we've got going on today, or well, only on a very small scale. There's a tiny little private operation down there, like I said, getting the stuff for the really prestige repair jobs. The majority of the quarrying's all over and done with now. But it wasn't all open cast quarrying. There was also mining, as we'd call it, I suppose, digging tunnels into the side of the hill. Now, in the Second World War, somehow, I don't know how, the maps of those tunnels were lost. The last time they were explored was 1972. Now the guy who explored them, he found two. One of them was under a metal cap, like a large cast iron manhole cover, and that was accessible via a shaft. He also found others which were tunnels dug into the side of the hill, dug into the side of the cliff face, as it were, into the chalk. Now, those records were lost, those maps were lost. Since then, the farmer, and this is going back, 60, 70 years, since then the farmer has deliberately blocked off all of the tunnels on his land. Also since then, further quarrying went on, which obliterated the entrances to a lot of these tunnels. Now, there's an old painting that I found from 1813. And it's a nice old painting. It's kind of sort of a constable sort of style, This guy painted the mining operation and the entrance to the tunnel, one of the tunnels at the time. So this is now 200 years ago, and I think I've identified from the painting which bit it is where this tunnel exists. I'm sitting looking at it right now. Let's have a look. In the painting that I was talking about, you can clearly see Totternhoe Castle. Now, I'm a little bit close to the edge of the bank here. If I were to back off a couple of 100 metres, I'd be probably about where it was painted from. But unfortunately, my tablet isn't able to pick up the details from back there. So, in the painting, we're basically looking at what we've got here. Where's my finger? There we are. Totternhoe Castle's just up there. It's obscured behind the trees, but there is the mound of Totternhoe Castle up there, and there are two other mounds just to the left of it. They are very, very easily identifiable. in that photo. Sorry, in that painting. Like I said, if I was to back off a couple of 100 metres, you'd be able to see almost exactly what's in the painting. Unfortunately, I can't get down there because it's fenced off and it's got sheep grazing on it. Now this little, oh, I'm getting caught on barbed wire. This little area here is where it shows about where I'm standing at the moment. There was a stone building with a thatched roof, and just in there was a little square entrance all shored up with bits of wood and huge slabs of chalk. So there is a tunnel, I reckon, looking at this old painting, there is a tunnel going directly into the hill there, under the fort, under the old castle. There are reportedly others, including some which apparently stretch for 2 miles into the centre of town, where they join up with other known and documented chalk tunnels under the town and joining up to the church and all the rest of it. I don't personally go with that one. It's about 2 miles away. There's no way we've got 2 miles of chalk tunnels going under the town. I think people have seen these old remnants of tunnels, and there would be plenty more of them over there where they're digging into the hillside. And over there, these tunnels would have been all over the place, and the mining and the quarrying was going on here for 1,000 years plus, you know. I think people have just seen those old tunnels and they've confused them, and they've linked them up with the tunnels that are known to be under the town. It's too far. I'm pretty sure they're nothing to do with each other. Yeah, down there, I reckon behind all of that, I can't see any. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's all been quarried again and it's been covered up, but just by the geography shown in that painting, I reckon somewhere just below that tree in the middle there, behind some of that chalk and some of that spoil, there's a secret tunnel. And this is where the mysteries of the quarry turn a little bit sinister. You can see behind me here, all over the place, there's all of these spoil heaps. All of these spoil heaps of chalk that have been dug out, and it's not the purest of chalk, you know, it's the sort of top layer stuff, and they can't really use it, so they just pile it up all over the place. And over the decades, it does eventually grass over, and it's what actually forms a large part of this nature reserve that I'm about to walk into. But these spoil heaps, there's a bit of a sinister rumour attached to them. There's an old boy I know who lives up by the allotment. He lives in a caravan just over the road from the allotments. He's well into his 80s, but I know him because he walks his dog. He walks his dog locally over the allotments. I'll stop and chat to him. And I can't remember why we were talking about this place, but why is it shading me out all the time? Stop doing that. Come back. Come back. There we go. Yeah, this old boy was telling me, I can't remember why we were talking about this place, but he said to me, he said, oh yeah, he said the 2 brothers he mentioned. He said 2 brothers who ran this quarry back in the 50s and the 60s used to get nighttime visits from old Bedford vans and whatnot that had driven up from London in the dead of night, where they're always piling up these spoil heaps. It was considered a convenient way of disposing of the unfortunate victims of London gangland culture of the period. So yeah, I was told by a man in the know. He actually used to know my granddad, old Bert. They used to work together back at the time. He was telling me that pretty much all of these spoil heaps, so he says, each one's got a different victim buried under it. So I don't know how much truth there is in that. There's another thing he told me as well, which, although not necessarily sinister, is very intriguing. I'm going to walk on for a bit, see what else we can find, and I'll tell you what else he told me. Here lieth Freddie the Hatchet Wilson, or what was left of him. Right, we're into the proper nature reserve now. And I call this the post-apocalyptic nature reserve, because it's built on what, a couple of hundred years ago, I think actually up until about the 1940s or 50s, used to be an industrial area. Although I'm in the middle of a nature reserve, what I'm actually sitting on here is an old concrete railway platform. There used to be, because of all the chalk quarrying, there used to be lime kilns here. And actually the lime kilns stretched quite a long way towards town as well. The house that I used to live in, old maps show that that was an area of lime kilns. So as well as processing all the lime and bringing out all of the chalk that they've quarried, there was a railway siding here. It's all gone now. It's all part of the nature reserve, and we're not going to take a walk through the cutting today. There is a cutting called Sewell cutting, which is really beautiful. It's a really nice little walk through there. Not going to go through there today. I'm going to stick to the post-apocalyptic nature reserve. We're going to walk on in a second, and you'll see why I call it that. It's quite unnerving. But anyway, the other thing that, let me just get a seat. Oh, the other thing that the old boy told me about, there we go, as well as this rumour of East End gangsters being buried under the spoil heaps in the old quarry over there, the other thing he mentioned, which he had far less specifics on, and I'm going to have to press him on this one day because it's intriguing. He said that back in the days when these two dodgy brothers were running it, something was found, something was dug up. And he described it as something weird. He said something weird was dug up and it was taken away. Now this old boy, he's in his 80s, but he's fairly, he's not, so he knows what he's saying, I couldn't think of a politically correct way to say dementia, I think then. He's not like that. He knows what he's talking about. He's fully with it. He lives on his own with his little dog in his caravan. Does all right on his own. And I sort of said, well, what did they find? He said, I don't know. He said it was just something really weird and it got taken away. He couldn't point me in the right direction at all, but just that little sentence has left me absolutely intrigued. What the hell did they find? I've not seen him lately because he doesn't walk his dog on the allotment when the weather's like it has been. But things are warming up a bit now. It's 11 degrees today. 11 degrees. Things are warming up a bit now, so I'm likely to see him soon. And this thing has played on my mind ever since he said that. What did they find? Was it something megalithic? Your imagination runs wild. Are we talking Stargate sort of stuff here? What the hell did they find that had to get taken away in secret? I'm going to press him on that one day, and hopefully I might be able to find out a little bit more. I've done my own research, and you look up the mysteries surrounding this, and all you get is stories of the tunnels. There's nothing about anything mysterious being found and swiftly taken away for whatever reason. Let's go and have a look at the post-apocalyptic landscape that's in this nature reserve. Is it looking post-apocalyptic yet? This place always makes me think of the sort of location where an old 1970s episode of Tom Baker era Doctor Who might have been filmed. I can just imagine a Cyberman crouching in the bushes over there, or a Dalek somehow miraculously working its way over all the chalk and the building rubble. I don't know exactly what this would have been. It could have been part of the lime kilns. We're a little bit far away from the old train track for it to have been the engine shed. Apparently there was a large engine shed here. Considering the works going on, this could have been one of any number of things. This way, Twinkle. I'm desperately trying to shield the microphone a little bit. It's an interesting landscape. It's not short of significant wildlife either. We've got lots of rare butterflies and orchids growing here. There are slow worms. Up in the sky you've got the red kites and the kestrels and the buzzards. It's a pretty rich area. It's different. It's not like your usual nature reserve. It's got some real character. And you know, early to mid last century, this was a thriving bit of industry here. And now it's all gone back to nature, which is very nice indeed. Oh, finally got out of the wind. Somewhere just to sit down for 5 minutes before I make my way back to the car. I hope you enjoyed that little Saturday morning romp. I'd forgotten, not forgotten, but you know, I'd neglected to mention all of those little interesting things about the old quarry and the pit. I'm going to have to find out a little bit more about that mysterious object that was taken away. You could let your imagination run wild with that, couldn't you? But even so, the stories of the gangsters, the London gangsters buried under all the spoil heaps, wouldn't surprise me at all. It sort of reminds me of Epping Forest, where I used to live near Epping Forest. And it's well known down there that you can't take 5 steps in Epping Forest without stepping on the grave of an old murder victim somewhere, you know. Right, we'll have another walk next Saturday, won't we, Twinkle? You getting bored now, Twinkle? Am I doing too much standing talking? Is it really not your thing? We're going home now. Right, thank you for joining us. Take care. See you later.